I bet I know what you're thinking. What in the world is a list comprehension? And why do we call it that? Well, let me just define this for you. In Python, a list comprehension is a way for you to easily fill a list with its contents. Why it's called a comprehension is a nod to mathematics. Yeah, in the study of mathematics, there's something called a set comprehension. So anyways, yeah, a very interesting name, but what we're talking about is, as I'll show you, a really easy way to completely fill out a list. So let's take a look at a file I have here for us where we do it a roundabout way. Yeah, this is not doing a list comprehension. I'll show you that in a minute, but this is a roundabout way of filling up a list. Yeah, think about it. I create an empty list, and then to complete that list, I use a nice for loop. I say for I in range 8, take my list and let's use the append method and let's fill it up with the integer of 10. And then let's go ahead and print this. Yeah, so that should work, right? It should append the integer 10 in our list 8 times. So let's see if this actually works. And sure enough, it does. So yeah, when we print the list, it has those 8 occurrences of the integer 10 inside the list. But my goodness, that's kind of a lot of work, isn't it? It just seems like Python kind of intuitively you think, well, do we really have to create the empty list and then fill it in such a kind of crude manner, if you will? Well, sure enough, we don't have to go through all of this. What we are going to see is now the official list comprehension way to do it. That is in another file. Let me go ahead and open that right now. There it is. It's my comp2.python file. And yeah, here it is. Look at how succinct we can do this. And I give you 2 separate examples here. So I think we had 4 lines of code before. Now we only have 2 lines of code. So I have 2 examples of this in here for us. Yeah. So notice what we can do. We don't have to create an empty list. No, we can just directly say, all right, my list is going to be equal to, and we have our for loop language right inside what would be your list. How cool is that? So in this example, I take the string test and I place it in the list 4 times. And then in this second example, we go ahead and take 2 raised to the power of I. And then for I in range 8. So this should give us 2 to the 0. It should give us 2 to the 1. It should give us 2 to the 2. Yeah, for those that have studied like binary in terms of TCP/IP addressing in the network field, this is going to print for us the decimal values for binary bit positions. Anyways, you can just see the point I was trying to make to you is that we can do math as well in here when we are generating the list results. So this is really great, isn't it? Yes, list comprehensions allow us to do our for loops right inside the list in order to create their contents. And as always, we better make sure this works. So what do we expect to see? We expect to see my list printed, which would be a list of the word test 4 times, and then we should see 1 through 128. Yes, because again, we're going to get 2 to the 0, which is 1, 2 to the 1, which is 2, 2 to the 2, which is 4. So those are the values we're going to get. Let's run this thing, and look at that. It works just as we would have expected. There's our first list, and it's filled with the string test 4 times. Then there's our second list we created, and it is filled with 2 to the 0, which is 1, all the way up to 2 to the 7th, which is 128. So, list comprehensions, a powerful, very simple method that we can use to fill our list. Yeah, that's right, to fill the list with values. Well, I know you may be having a little list fatigue at this point, but I've got great news for you. We have one final video. I think you're going to love it on lists. That'll be next. And then we'll be turning our attention to our next topic, which I believe is tuples. Fun to say. Yeah, we'll look at tuples as part of our data and Python module. Thanks so much for joining me here, and I hope you're looking forward to the next video, as I am as well.